Fort Dodge, Iowa. Halloween night, 1982. The doorbell rings again. Marvin and Ethel Brandland smile. Another trick-or-treater, they think. But this visitor is different. He wears a mask, a dark coat, and he knows Marvin's name. The visitor steps inside, pulls a gun, and says the last terrifying words that Marv will ever hear. "This is it, Marv. Open the safe." Moments later, Marvin is dead, and the killer disappears back into the Halloween night. Marvin Brandland was 69 years old, a retired businessman, father, and grandfather, known for his easy laugh and steady routine. Halloween 1982 was uneventful in their quiet neighborhood on North 14th Avenue. He and his wife, Ethel, handed out candy to the few children who still trick-or-treated after dark. It was around 8 p.m. when one last knock came. A visitor in a pillowcase mask stood at the door. He was tall and carried a handgun. Ethel later said he seemed calm and that he spoke to her husband as if he knew him. And he said those final words, and the night was never quiet again. "This is it, Marv. Open the safe." Ethel froze. Only close friends and family knew that they kept a small safe in the basement. Marvin refused. He told the man to leave before things got out of hand. A struggle followed in the doorway. Ethel ran toward the kitchen to call police, but before she could even start dialing, she heard a gunshot. The masked man turned and fled into the dark. Marvin lay on the floor, fatally wounded. Police arrived within minutes. The front door stood open. The bowl of candy spilled across the porch. No money was taken, and the safe was never opened. Whoever came to the door had known exactly what to ask for and exactly who to kill. Detectives interviewed neighbors who'd seen a man in a white pillowcase mask walking down the street just before the murder. But no vehicle was spotted, no fingerprints recovered, no usable DNA. In 1982, technology was limited. Investigators learned the Brandlands had talked about their basement safe at a recent gathering. Some friends knew its location and contents. It was only a small home safe, old papers, and a few $100s. Nothing worth killing for. Within weeks, rumors spread through town. The killer was not a stranger, they whispered. He was someone they'd known for years. But in Fort Dodge, people didn't talk easily about neighbors, especially when the neighbor might be a murderer. Police received tips pointing to several local men, one in particular who had done odd jobs for the Brandlands and had talked openly about knowing they had a safe. But without forensic evidence or an eyewitness, the case stalled. Years later, a relative told police that this same man had once confessed, while drunk, to being the killer. When interviewed, he denied it. There was no physical proof. He died in the 1990s, taking whatever truth he held with him. Police still list the case as open. What makes this murder so eerie isn't just the timing, Halloween night, but the mask the man wore. A pillowcase with eye holes crudely cut, childlike, almost absurd. Witnesses described it as homemade, like a ghost costume from the 1950s. Was the killer hiding behind something innocent or mocking his victims? And why say Marvin's name? That small detail haunts investigators even now. It wasn't a random robbery. It was personal. Every Halloween since Marv's death, Ethel Brandland has left her porch light off. She never answered the door on that night again. 4 decades later, the murder of Marvin Brandland remains one of Iowa's most infamous cold cases. The FBI has revisited it. DNA from the scene, tiny trace samples on the pillowcase mask, have been tested with modern methods. So far, no match. Every year, true crime enthusiasts and locals alike retell the story, how a man in a mask walked up to a house on Halloween, called his victim by name, murdered him, and vanished into the night. Ethel passed away without ever learning who killed her husband. But neighbors still leave a candle on their porch each October 31st, a small light for the truth that never came. Maybe the killer walks among the community still. Or maybe he was buried long ago. Either way, Fort Dodge has never forgotten the man at the door. If you have any information about the murder of Marvin Brandland, contact the Fort Dodge Police Department. Even decades later, the smallest detail could bring justice. Next week, on Whisper and Dread, we look into a Halloween night shooting with conflicting witness accounts. The unsolved murder of college student William Vassar. Share your thoughts in the comments and let your whisper join ours. The quietest voices often tell the loudest truths. Until next time, Curious Whisperer, this has been Whisper and Dread.